धर्मः प्रोज्झित्कैतवोऽत्र मर्मो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो वरोध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात् completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is really reality distinguished from illusion from the for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva, in his majority is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So, Bhagavatam 1.1.2 Dharma Projit Kaitabotra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapatra Yon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krate Kimva Parireshwaraha Sadyo Rudya Varudhya Tetra Kratibihi Shushru Shubhistakshanata. Religion includes four primary subjects, namely pious activities, economic development, satisfaction of senses, and finally liberation from material bondage. A religious life is a barbarous condition. Indeed, human life begins when religion begins. Eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating are the four principles of animal life. These are common both to animals and to human beings, but religion is the extra function of the human being. Without religion, human life is no better than animal life. Therefore, in human societies, there is some form of religion which aims at self realization and makes reference to man's eternal relationship with God. In the lower stages of human civilization, there is always competition to lord it over the material nature, or in other words, there is a continuous rivalry to satisfy the senses. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion. He thus performs pious activities or religious functions in order to gain something material. But if such material gains are obtainable in other ways, then the so called religion is neglected. This is the situation in modern civilization. Man is thriving economically, so at present he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques, or temples are now practically vacant. Men are more interested in factories, shops, cinemas, and religious places than in religious places which were erected by their forefathers. This practically proves that religion is performed for some economic gains. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Often, when even now, the temples are. It looks like there are many temples being constructed. Ram Mandir, then the temple outside in the modern in outside India in the Western countries, Muslim countries. There are temples, huge temples created constructed. They are so much money is invested in them, and they are so luxurious, lavish, and huge. But then what is the attitude of other people? They want to construct five-star hotels, luxurious restaurants around the temple, and construct all that promotes the economic growth. The politicians are also sanctioning it. Next, they'll develop one airport also by that temple, near to close to that, for the convenience of the tourists, and not devotees, tourists. It is called tourists. So what is all this? What is the use of that temple? And all people, all the sense gratifiers, they'll come decked up in their material way and visit the temple and go away. So what is the purpose of constructing a temple should be very clear. Now we see that Ram Mandir is being constructed, but what is the plans around in and around it? All the facilities for the coming people, the visitors. So, a lavish, luxurious five-star quality restaurants for people to take halt in. Why do people want their can't they bear some tolerate some austerity? They are coming for darshan of the Lord. Why do they want five-star hotel there too? The material thing, the sense gratification. Why do they need it there also? For one day, they can't tolerate any austerity. Can't they go through any hardships for a day? Why all facilities must be there even at that time? So this is madness. And people are facilitating it, politicians are doing it, and there are others also, religious people only, who support it. So this will go on. And what is bhakti then? You know what is bhakti then, what happens in the name of bhakti. So it is a thing to ponder upon. And one must not go to such one must not go to such places and visit such places where all this kind of luxury in the name of sense gratification is for sense gratification is facilitated rather than anything on the religious side, bhakti side. So that is the point. How many people now there is so many temples are constructed now? For example, Ram Mandir. How many people will get any benefit of the leelas of Ram there? In the true sense, how many will understand what is Lord Ram? What is his purpose of coming? Why should we worship him? Is there anything greater than him? And if he is a Lord, then how can we achieve the practical realization? How much, for how many days and years together should we keep seeing at that stone idol, the Vigra? There should be some instruction. माता पिता को तुम पत्थर की तरह घर पे रखते हो क्या? वो बातें करते तुमसे, वो तुमसे प्यार करते हैं, वो तुम्हारी बातें सुनते हैं, तुम्हारे दुख में शामिल होते हैं, तुम्हारे सुख में शामिल, तुम्हारे अच्छे के लिए कार्य करते हैं। तो फिर वो मूर्ति जो भगवान की टेम्पल में है, वो तो पत्थर की बनी हुई है, वो करती है कुछ ऐसा। तो कि ये इच्छा भी ना हो तो क्या फायदा है उससे टेम्पल का? So that is the whole point. And if you construct so many temples, it has been going on, and this will go on. So we one must understand that religion is always performed for some economic gains. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Often, when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and then tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. Or and then after suffering for a long time, he would also want to see the Lord and become one with the Lord. Then what is this? Merge in the Lord. What is this? This is also again a sense gratification. In the Vedas, the above mentioned four activities are prescribed in the regulative way so that there will not be any undue competition for sense gratification. But Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental to all the sense gratificatory activities. It is purely transcendental literature which can be understood only by the pure devotees of the Lord who are transcendental to competitive sense gratification. In the material world, there is keen competition between animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competitions. They do not compete with the materialists because they are on the path back to Godhead where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. But the transcendental devotees of the Lord are not only free from material envy but well wishers to everyone, and they strive to establish a competition-less society with God at the center. The contemporary socialist conception of a competition-less society is artificial because in the socialist state there is competition for the post of dictator. From the point of view of the Vedas or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis of material life. There are three paths mentioned in the Vedas. One involves fruitive activities to gain promotion to better planets. Another involves worshipping different demigods for promotion to the planets of demigods. And another involves realizing the absolute truth and his impersonal feature and becoming one with him. The impersonal aspect of the absolute truth is not the highest. Above the impersonal feature is the Paramatma feature, and above this personal feature of the absolute truth or Bhagavan, Srimad Bhagavatam gives information about the absolute truth in his personal feature. It is higher than impersonalist literatures and higher than the Jnana Kanda division of the Vedas. It is even higher than the Karma Kanda division and even higher than the Upasana Kanda division because it recommends the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. In the Karmakand, there is competition to reach heavenly planets for better sense gratification, and there is similar competition in the Jnanakand and Upasana. The Srimad Bhagavatam is superior to all of these because it aims at the supreme truth, which is the substance or the root of all categories. From Srimad Bhagavatam, one can come to know the substance as well as the categories. The substance is the absolute truth, the supreme Lord, and all emanations are relative forms of energy. Nothing is apart from the substance, but at the same time, the energies are different from the substance. This conception is not contradictory. Srimad Bhagavatam explicitly promulgates this simultaneously one and different philosophy of the Vedanta Sutra, which begins with the first shloka of Bhagavatam, which is Janmadhyasya Sutra. Thus, knowledge that the energy of the Lord is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord is an answer to the mental speculators' attempt to establish the energy as the absolute. When this knowledge is factually understood, one sees the conceptions of monism and dualism to be imperfect. Development of this transcendental consciousness, grounded in the conception of simultaneously one and different, leads one immediately to the stage of freedom from the threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are those miseries which arise from the mind and body, miseries which are inflicted by other beings, those are that arise from the natural catastrophes over which one has no control, like earthquakes, famines, storms, and in the Western world, the heavy snowstorms. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the surrender of the devotee unto the absolute person. The devotee is fully aware that he is one with the absolute and at the same time in the eternal position of servant to the absolute. One with the absolute means not becoming one with the absolute, it means he is a part and parcel of the supreme whole. In the material conception, one falsely thinks himself the lord of all he surveys, and therefore he always troubled by the threefold miseries of life. But as soon as one comes to know his real position as a transcendental servant, he at once becomes free from all the miseries. As long as the living entity is trying to master material nature, there is no possibility of his becoming the servant of the Supreme. Service to the Lord is rendered in pure consciousness of one's spiritual identity by service. One is immediately freed from material encumbrances. Now, as long as the material, as a living entity, is trying to master the material nature, there is no possibility of his becoming servant of the Supreme. Like for small things, even small examples, preparing some food item and then taking the whole credit for it. What is your role in that? The food items have their own qualities, their own whatever constituents, the minerals, vitamins, the taste, because of its very nature. So, and you're just assembling this, putting it and combining, processing over a fire, and then it gets cooked. And then, when there is some taste, you want to take the whole credit that you did it. And what did you do? You were just an instrument. The whole thing is provided to you by Lord for free. You have to use the brain, and that is not any credit. What would you do if you didn't use even that much? And then why take the false ego of accomplishing this? The feeling of I who did it. The things have their own nature, and that is helping and achieve the item that is being prepared. But you want to take the whole credit. I have prepared this. I can prepare very delicious dishes. Anything that I prepare turns out to be delicious. What is that? False pride of lording over the material nature. So even just a small thing as a tea, I prepare tea. I can prepare very very nice tea. It tastes so good. What are you doing? Just putting all the ingredients. The ingredients have their own nature, their own taste, vitamins, all the nutritions, and that brings out the flavor. The flavor is also there. You are not imparting flavor to the tea. You are just assembling things over a fire, boiling it in a pot, and then getting it ready. So you are just an instrument and you have been given a chance to do this. Otherwise, what else would you be doing? Like animals grazing in the wild forest or killing each other for food. So you are an instrument, you are being given a chance. So that is what one must realize. He cannot master over the material nature. He is not the master of them. The Lord is the master of even the material nature. It is his energy, Maya Shakti, Antaranga, Bahiranga, and Jeev Shakti. So even Bahiranga Shakti is his energy, and we must attribute all that is good in this material world also because of the Lord's presence. So one who does this will be saved. So service to Lord is rendered in pure consciousness of one's spiritual identity. By service, one is immediately freed from material encumbrances. Over and above this, Srimad Bhagavatam is a personal commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Srila Vyasadeva. It was written in the maturity of his spiritual life through mercy of Narada. Vyasadeva is the authorized incarnation of Narayan, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, there is no question as to his authority. He is the author of all other Vedic literatures, yet he recommends the study of Srimad Bhagavatam above all others. In other Puranas, there are different methods set forth by which one can worship the demigods, but in Bhagavatam, only the Supreme Lord is mentioned. The Supreme Lord is the total body, and the demigods are different parts of that body. Consequently, by worshipping the Lord, one does not need to worship the demigods. The Supreme Lord becomes fixed in the heart of devotee immediately. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended the Bhagavatam as the spotless Puran, Amala Puran, and distinguishes it from all other Puranas. The proper method for receiving this transcendental message is hearing it submissively. Submissive means not बुद्धिगान करके ऐसा नहीं है कि गधे की तरह सुनना है submissive means you have to properly accept the message and don't nod the head if there is mentioned that the demons are nice entities. You have to hear submissively. Difference between demon and a devotee. Bhagavatam, if you read Bhagavatam and you feel that it is okay to be demoniac in nature, then what have you read? You have not read submissively. A challenging attitude cannot help one realize this transcendental message. One particular word is used here in for proper guidance, and it is shushrush. Shushrushu. One must be anxious to hear this message, transcendental message. The desire to hear sincerely is the first qualification. Sincerely means what again? Now, no need to tell. It means that you are willing to only accept the truth and nothing else. Less fortunate persons are not at all interested in hearing the Bhagavatam. The process is simple, but application is difficult. Unfortunate people find enough time to hear idle social political conversations, but when invited to attend a meeting of devotees to hear Bhagavatam, they suddenly become reluctant. Sometimes professional readers of Bhagavatam immediately plunge in the confidential topics of the pastimes of Lord, which they seemingly interpret as a sex literature. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant to be heard from the beginning. Those who are fit to assimilate the work as mentioned in the shloka one becomes qualified to hear Bhagavatam after many pious deeds. The intelligent person with thoughtful discretion can be assured by the great sage Vyasadeva that he can realize the Supreme Personality directly by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Without undergoing the different stages of realization set forth in the Vedas, one can be lifted immediately to the position of Paramhansa simply by agreeing to receive this message. That is the importance of hearing it from the right source in the right association. Otherwise, you have to read it until you understand the Bhagavatam properly. Otherwise, there's no point in just reading and not hearing the message in therein. It does not benefit at all. The what is the essence of Bhagavatam? What is the essence of Bhagavatam? One must understand that. Kal, karma, prakriti. Karma and काल तो कौन सा हम किस काल के अंडर में है और फिर जीव एंड परमात्मा ये भगवत गीता में बताया गया है. इट हैज बीन टोल्ड इन भगवत गीता. काल कर्म प्रकृति एंड जीव एंड परमात्मा and we are under the influence of time. And so, what is this time? The Bhagavatam has all the answers to this. What is this time? What is the duration of this? And what is one forced to do under the influence of time? He cannot think of anything better. He will keep repeating the same kind of activities over and over, and this conditioning is a result of this. We must understand this. Bhagavatam is not just a You know, it doesn't. It sounds like Lord Krishna's pastimes and all. Very simple cowherd boys. Then the gopis, Yashoda Maya, Rohini, you know. You are getting it on a superficial level, but we are under the influence of time. Time is a great force, and Bhagavatam has given the estimation of all these times and what all happens in the different, time influence. And we are, as a human being, we are supposed to understand this. Otherwise, repetitively, we'll over and over, we'll keep thinking the same things again and again, and no, with no practical result. And we will land up in the society of mundane, mediocre idiots. So this Bhagavatam is very important, and one must lend a good ear and understand it and hear it only from a bona fide source. Anyone who is sincerely reading it or have read it, and if there is no one else like this, then you have to read the Bhagavatam over and over again and struggle to understand what is the message. That is the message of this Srimad Bhagavatam Granth. Thank you.